This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Thursday, November 21st. Thanks for joining us. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Customers in parts of Christchurch and St. Philip should brace for outages following an incident at the Barbados Water Authority's Hampton Pumping Station. While crews were working to complete equipment repair, the well floor collapsed and brought work to a halt. Minister of Water Resources Wilfred Abrams updated reporters about the incident at a post-cabinet press conference this evening.
We are trying hard to make the best of a bad situation and try to figure out how can we still pump from there or get some pumping capacity restored from there, but safety first at this point. I would love to give water and restore the full capacity of that pumping station by today. That is likely to be impossible, and I am not going to endanger the life of any person working at the Barbados Water Authority to save a couple hours. We are going to try to do the best that we can with the trucks and diverting water from other places, but we are doing the best we can there. That is something that could not be foreseen. It is a most unfortunate circumstance.
The minister added that he was concerned about conditions at BWA's plants and investigations will now have to be conducted at each facility.
We are working on dealing with the ones that we had identified. Hampton was not one of the ones on the list. So we're going to take this warning that luckily ended with no loss of life, and the engineers are going to inspect every single pumping installation for weaknesses because we can't put people who work there at risk.
Students of the Frederick Secondary School resumed classes today, almost 2 weeks after the fatal stabbing of 16-year-old Tamario Holder at the Trent St. James facility. Education officials were on hand to welcome the students who had to undergo security checks, but they were tight-lipped on how the day went. The students were addressed by former principal Reverend Keith Griffith, who later told reporters that while the new security measures would help to improve the environment, they were not the answer.
Enforcement alone will not work. So whereas security is important, I'm not dismissing the importance of security, but I'm saying that increased security cannot deal with all the behavioral problems that impact schools, because there's a limit to which security can go and to which you can use security anyhow. So security is useful, and those in authority in the security area, they have to make their decisions based on their thinking and awareness, and I have no problem with the increased security. I'm just saying if we think that increased security is going to solve the problems, that is getting it wrong. It is just one of the measures we use in the prevailing situation. But the problem is going to be addressed when the behavioral modification takes place.
Griffith maintained that families and society must raise their standards, revealing that students bringing weapons to school was nothing new. There is nothing wrong with the quality of fuel being imported by the Barbados National Oil Company Limited. This was made clear yesterday by the company's chairman, Alex MacDonald, who said the company had received no complaints from other entities which had used the same fuel as the Barbados Light and Power. Following 2 days of island-wide power outages, the BLMP's managing director, Roger Blackman, blamed the blackouts on contaminated fuel. However, speaking during a press conference yesterday at Ilaro Court, MacDonald maintained that the BNOCL was not importing inferior fuel. He said the company had been importing fuel from 2 companies for some time without any issues.
Light and Power's machinery is intolerant to the fuel that is being used. The spec had changed a bit, and we have constantly maintained the spec that the Light and Power has asked us for. What we are trying to do now is working with the Light and Power to deliver the fuel without the phenols that have been added to that fuel. So we have to be careful that there's not an impression that the BNOCL is bringing an inferior quality of fuel. It's a different type of fuel. Like Power is now saying that this spec is not good for our machines. Please take away. The fact that it can be used to burn in the other machines means clearly that it is a usable fuel.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume revelers, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, the Jamaica government assures police officers improvements are coming to stations across the island. More in this report from Television Jamaica.
The police is the first line and the premier law enforcement agency. And we have to create an environment where they feel comfortable working.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang addressing the media after a tour of the Trenchtown Police Station in St. Andrew on Wednesday. The police station is one of the 22 completed this year under the ministry's Rebuild, Overhaul and Construct ROC project. 60 stations are scheduled for repairs before the end of the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Superintendent Howard Chambers heads the West Kingston Police Division, under which the Trenchtown Police Station falls.
Conditions were way far much less than what you're enjoying now.
And what are you enjoying?
Yeah, you're enjoying the ambience of cool AC unit. The aesthetic of the place have been improved. And it's also lift the spirit of the police, but not only the police per se, but the citizens that are out there are very pleased when they come inside and they can, sit and wait to give their report.
And on the international scene, Israel's Attorney General has charged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with bribery, fraud and breach of trust in connection with 3 separate cases. The Prime Minister described the charges as an attempted coup, blaming them on tainted process. We get the details from Reuters Television.
The corruption allegations facing Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have now resulted in indictments against him. The Attorney General made the announcement on Thursday, raising more uncertainty over who will ultimately lead a country whose politics were already in chaos. The Prime Minister is accused of wrongfully accepting $264,000 in gifts from business tycoons and giving favors in return for favorable media coverage. He could face up to 10 years in prison. He's under no legal obligation to resign at this point, and he's always denied any wrongdoing, but it comes as the country is already facing the prospect of its 3rd election in less than a year.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit us at our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Zoom Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.